1.
It's showtime.
That's great.
This is ridiculous.
The Truth Network.
Right now.
Ooh.
That's the stupidest thing I ever heard.
Let's do it.
Hit it. It's time for Max World.
And here we go.
Everybody, let's get it started. Let's get it started in here.
Call Matt 244-0077 or text 809-0993.
All right, now listen up.
Exclusively on The Truth Network, 99.3 The Truth FM.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
We're not good enough.
All right, good afternoon. 6 minutes after the hour of 3 o'clock, and we are live here in Max World. 4th day of May in the Lord's year 2016. I'm J. Michael McCoy. We'll be blessed to have Congressman Steve King in the studio here in about 30 minutes. He, when you're dealing with politicians, the ones that are already elected, those are the good ones. Those are the ones that when an event is over and somebody wants to stop and talk to them, that's what they do. They talk to them. And so we got a notification that Steve King is running just a little bit late, and so he should be here somewhere around 3:30. And so we'll segue into a live interview with him when he arrives. Then in the 4 o'clock hour, we're going to have Pastor Todd Stiles, who is the pastor for one of the missionaries that was murdered in Jamaica. And Jamaican officials have now, believe it or not, Jamaican officials have announced an arrest of 3 different people in the execution-style murder of the missionaries. One, of course, being from Ankeny, Iowa, and Todd Stiles will be here to update us on that and talk about that. So this is probably going to be the best hour Frank's ever had on radio. You got to admit, this is a big day for you. The Trumpster is the nominee. And I don't know how he would lose it at this point. I suppose there could be some trickery at the convention, but your guy, and I'll give it to you. You've been with him. You've been loyal. You never backed off. I quit being a Trump guy about 3 weeks before the caucus when he was up in Sioux City, and he said this: my followers are so loyal that I could actually kill somebody on the streets in Manhattan and they'd still vote for me. And what I hear Donald Trump say is, Mac is so naive that if I did the worst possible thing to a human being and take their life, Mac would still caucus for me. And I just said that was my breaking point. And so I caucused for Rubio. But Donald Trump, it looks like Donald Trump will be the nominee unless again, some Republican trickery. And man, are there people jumping off the Republican bus today. Wow. Matt Walsh, who is a huge conservative blogger, put out a public announcement that he's out of the Republican Party. He's looking for people that want to start a third party and want to put a candidate in for the third party, which is just another way of guaranteeing Hillary is going to be in the White House. But we've got our panel here, Chris Roloff, Frank the Verse Thomas, and Bob Monstret, the Cat in the Hat. If you've got some comments, we're going to have to talk a little politics today because this is the water cooler talk. Everybody's talking about the fact that, holy Toledo, can you believe it? Donald Trump is going to be the Republican nominee for president in 2016. Chris?
Frank and I were going back and forth who was going to talk first.
All right, Frank.
I just lost it by talking about it, huh? No, I found it really interesting today to testify at our lunch. I was informed that I guess Steve Deace earlier today posted that he's officially registered as an independent as well.
Yeah, there's a thing going. There's a form you can print up off of the internet, and it fills out that you fill it out and said, I have no other party affiliation. I've never been convicted of a felony, blah, 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 blah. And then you sign the bottom and you're out of the Republican Party.
Right. And I understand Steve Deace is now registered as an independent.
Right.
I just saw on Facebook Kim Pearson, who might be familiar with her. She did the same thing. There's a lot of just local people that are doing this. A lot of people leaving the Republican Party. A good friend of mine, Steve Riker, is with Republicans in Story County, and he informed me as well that there are a lot of people in the Story County Republican Party dropping out. There are a lot of never Trump people that are very serious. They're not kidding. They're not joking around. This wasn't just a publicity stunt. They are done. They have washed their hands of the Republican Party, and I say good for them.
Well, here's the problem, as I said months ago, and I would have been facing the same decision had Cruz got in, because I don't particularly care for him. I would have held my nose and voted Cruz. But it's going to come down to this. it's going to come down to a choice between Hillary and Trump. And if you sit home and refuse and pout because you're sour grapes, you're going to get Hillary.
Yeah, I mean, Steve's my friend, and I'm not going to bash him on the radio. But I'd love to talk to Kim Pearson or Matt Walsh or somebody, and it's like sitting down with my 15-year-old who just lost the election for class president when you're a freshman. And now they want to change schools and never go to that school again, and they have nobody to talk to, and none of my friends are going to like me anymore, and I'm a loser, and Mom, you got to help me.
Well, I'm looking forward to at least all the people who have sworn to leave the country if Trump is nominated president. That's my next goal. I'm looking forward to saying goodbye to those folk.
Well, you know what's fascinating, Mac, is your illustration is really good in that this might be seen as a bunch of people throwing a fit, Republicans saying, hey, you know what, this isn't fair, my guy is gone, and now I'm stuck with this guy I absolutely do not want. I'm going to throw a fit. I'm out. I'm done. And we're throwing a fit. I think what really is going on is there are a lot of conservatives in the Republican Party, lifelong conservatives, that are standing up for what they believe in once again, and that is the truth that Donald Trump is not a Republican. He's not a conservative. Donald Trump is not a conservative. He is a Democrat. He is a left. If he's a Republican, he is a very left-leaning Republican, more so, I think, than we've ever seen before.
This idea is not a new idea, but I think it needs to be seriously considered. People need to get together and lobby Donald Trump, and it may already be in the works, but Ted Cruz needs to be on the Supreme Court because he can do more damage for the conservative platform.
More damage for the progressive platform.
Well, yeah, but what I'm saying, if you think that way, he can do more good for the Republican platform than 2 terms in the White House for 8 years.
Yeah, and so what you're thinking, I don't want to put words in your mouth, Frank, so tell me if this is what I hear you saying. What I hear you saying is that those people that we just spoke of, Kim Pearson and Steve Deace and Matt Walsh and whoever else they are, who are going to leave the Republican Party because Donald Trump's going to be the nominee, they will be placated? Satisfied? I don't know. What's the term? If you take their candidate, Ted Cruz, and make him a Supreme Court justice. Is that what I hear you saying?
I think that's the correct, proper move, and it may be something already in the works. I think that there was some people that may have got to Cruz and said, hey, look, we'll put you on the Supreme Court if you bow out gracefully. You've obviously not going to win the nomination outright, and we don't want a floor convention all brokered and fighting and bloodied. So accept a Supreme Court nomination and go on your merry way. That's the best outcome, I think, that could come out of this.
But here's the problem, though. Look, even John, no one likes Ted Cruz in Washington. Conservatives don't like Ted Cruz in Washington. Who would vote for this guy?
Yeah, remember, he was the out candidate.
That's right. Ted Cruz was really the most outsider in terms of what Washington, D.C. was looking for. Now, there are a lot of Republicans that were very scared by Donald Trump, and I think the reason that the Republicans were scared by Donald Trump is because, as I said before, Donald Trump is not a conservative candidate. He's very left of center. This guy has supported anybody. He supports Democrats. He supports conservatives, liberals. He'll support anybody that serves his interest. Donald Trump is primarily for Donald Trump. He's not a conservative. The guy isn't as versed in his Constitution as someone like Ted Cruz or many of the other people running for political office. He's an outsider in that he's not a elected official. But in terms of principle, the guy already wants to move the Conservative Party away from some of its platforms, wants to change some of its platforms, make its platforms more compatible with their Democratic opponents. So how do we think, why would we think that Donald Trump should be considered a Republican? I don't know.
515-244-0077. That's where you can talk to us. 515-244-0077. 0077. I ask you to put that in your phone, put that in your address book, put that in your Google, your email, your Yahoo, whatever you put it in. Store it. 515-244-0077. You may not want to call today. You may have no interest in talking about this. Maybe you've already shut off the radio and all you're hearing is... So I understand if you don't want to save that number. However, one day, we're going to be talking about what you're passionate about. And you're going to be yelling at the radio saying, Mac, would you give me the number? Give me the number. Give me the number. And you'll remember on this day, the 4th of May, that I said put it in your phone. Mac's World, MACSWORLD. And if you'd like to text us at the Service Legends Truth text line, that's at 515-809-0993. Bob Monster at the Cat in the Hat watching the text. Frank?
Part of the problem with Ted Cruz, as somebody speculated or asserted last night, is he came in and he had an agenda to position himself for a presidential run right off the bat as soon as he come into the Senate. So he made a lot of enemies, and he shot himself in the foot that he didn't really have to do. So now that the presidential thing is out of the question now for this go-around, at least he may be a more likable guy when he goes back to the Senate.
Well, who was surprised last night when Ted Cruz dropped out? Both of my hands are up.
Absolutely.
I
Me
was
too.
shocked.
Me too. I was shocked.
I don't, and maybe Frank. Chris, get the bar soap because I'm about to say something really nasty. Maybe Frank's right. Maybe there's a deal that's been done. I did not expect Cruz to back out of this until after convention.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. But the question is, how is Trump going to unite the party? And I guess my thought is
Party got to just unite.
He needs to tell and who he's going to have for his cabinet. And who he's going to, bring in as VP right away.
Well, he said he's going to put forth a list of about 12 candidates he would seriously consider for the Supreme Court, just so that you'll get an idea of the flavor of type of people he's going to put on the court.
Right, and that would draw people in if they wanted them.
Yeah, no, that's true. All right, 515-244-0077. We've got a couple people that want to talk to us, and we'll talk to them and you when we come back. I'm Mac. Thanks you for listening to The Truth. 99.3.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can return the grandkids, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We'll help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Hi, my name is David Burrier, your Hope Coach. I host a live weekly talk show called I've Been There every Thursday afternoon at 5:30, right here on webcast1live.com, and on my weekly radio program Saturday mornings at 10 on Truth Network 99.3 FM. I interview common everyday people who have survived incredible life challenges and who testify to God's faithfulness in the midst of their storms. So join me as we bring a message of hope and encouragement. Everybody needs hope. I know, because I've been there.
Hey everybody, I brought Northern Lights Pizza! And it's got Graziano sausage!
Rockton Prevention is celebrating 25 years of creating a caring community. We want to say thank you to the tens of thousands of Rock High School mentors that have carried our message of health, love, and encouragement to over 1.5 million children, teachers, and parents. Our mentors teach children methods and skills to prevent bullying and drug use. Thank you to all the school administrators, teachers, and counselors for their opportunity to serve you. Rock on, fair citizens. Rock on. This is Pat McManus for Rock and Prevention, the Richard O. Jacobson Foundation, and this station.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
21 minutes after 3 o'clock, 3:21. Jeb, you're doing a good job. Hang in there, buddy. It's not easy some days. You know, what's interesting about producing a radio show with pictures, you have to remember that while Jeb is turning on microphones and having music play and come out of commercials, there's also this visual component at Webcast One Live that he is showing people. And so he's a busy boy in there, so he's doing a good job. All right, let's go to the phones. We've got some people standing by that want to talk about this Ted Cruz just bailing on the Republican Party. Yes, you heard me. Why isn't anybody upset with the fact that Ted Cruz bailed? Why couldn't Ted Cruz have stayed in there? I know maybe he didn't have the mathematical opportunity to win the nomination outright. But doesn't somebody think that between now and convention, Trump may say something stupid? Oh, that'd be something new. Or, you know, I don't know, something. I mean, right now, because Kasich is out too. Kasich is officially out. Trump's it. That's it. Now, any of the other candidates, if they only suspended their candidacy, Jeb Bush, suspended. Rubio, suspended. Paul, what's his name? Rand Paul?
Rand Paul.
He quit. He folded. Those people can come back because their papers are already filed. But it looks like Donald Trump's our nominee. Let's go to the phones where Paul is standing by. Paul, you're live in Max World. How you doing today?
Well, hopefully this doesn't mess up my prediction, but I always felt that Trump was there to help get Hillary in.
Yeah?
I honestly believe it depends on who he gets to be a running mate and what kind of choices he makes. If he pulls a Ross Perot and pulls in some people that are kind of questionable as far as their mental abilities, yeah, that might be a problem.
Well, you know, Paul, one of the things, and thank you for calling, one of the things that Trump is famous for, and if you talk to people who are inside the Trump camp, like Sam Clovis or Tana Gertz or anyone like that, they'll tell you that Trump don't hire I'm going to use your language, hillbilly language here. Trump don't hire no fools.
Yeah.
Trump may be the big, loud, narcissistic, center of the room, egomaniac, but all the people around him are very qualified and very loyal. Look at his kids. Now, you got to understand, look at his kids for a minute. Those kids are very good children. Yeah. You know, that doesn't happen when you've got a dad like that unless you really respect your father, because he's the easiest guy to rebel against. The big, loud tiger in the corner, he's the biggest one to rebel against. And his children haven't done that. So that says something about the way he acts when the microphone's off. Aaron, you are live in Max World. Aaron just called 515-244-0077. Aaron, what you say?
Well, a couple of things. My first thought is that, yes, I thought that Cruz just suspended his campaign as well. Am I wrong?
No, he did.
Okay.
He suspended his, but...
So, yes, I am disappointed because he was the only thing I had left going for. And I totally agree with Chris Roloff. That's what I wanted to say, is just what Chris said earlier is perfectly right. It's not sour grapes on my part that I am not going to vote for Trump. At this point, there is no possible way I could support Trump. I mean, unless something miraculously
So do you want Hillary?
I could not support him.
Do you want
no,
Hillary?
No, I don't want Hillary. But I can't. I agree with something Michael Brown said earlier on his program, that I can't support Hillary Clinton and I can't support Donald Trump. So I have to bow out and either not vote or figure out what else I'm going to do, because I don't know what to do.
I think you got to vote for Chris Roloff. Let's all have a write-in campaign for Chris Tiger Roloff.
As soon as you said Chris was right, he propped up straight in his chair over here.
I didn't know it.
Yeah, well, you did.
He was spot on. That's all I'm saying. But I also agree earlier. I just think that what Michael Brown said, something about, I do think Trump, and what Chris said is he is not a Republican, in my opinion. And so I'm concerned that the Republican Party has left. But I don't think that the people up high in the GOP have necessarily left those principles.
Aaron,
so I'm not ready to switch to the independent like some of the other people. But I don't think that Donald Trump is a Republican, and I guess that's just my comment.
Well, Aaron, how about this? I appreciate your opinion, and I'm going to be curious to watch how your opinion evolves until we get to November, and I hope you stay in touch with us because I'd like to hear that. But what if we just consider this for a moment?
Okay.
Kind of like when you go to a church and you like that church and it's a great church, and then the pastor or one of the pastor leaves. Hopefully you sit back and you say, well, let's just see what happens. Let's just see what the church evolves into. Let's see what the Republican Party evolves into. Because I don't think in 4 years or 8 years, we're not going to have a Republican Party. We're going to have the grand old party, the GOP. But what will it look like?
That's really what I'm going to do. I'm going to sit back and wait.
Yeah.
But the problem is I don't know what to do in the meantime. And so in the meantime, I'm just going to have a major I don't know what to
Here's what you do, Aaron. You go to Dairy Queen.
Yeah.
And you get one of those delicious butterscotch dilly bars. And then you come up here and sit in the studio with us. And we'll do this radio show together, and we'll just wait for November to roll around, and then we'll make it like a big deal, like who will Aaron vote for? What was the movie with when they spied on that guy? They had the cameras on him 24/7.
The Truman Show.
Truman Show.
Yeah, this will be the Aaron Show.
No, thank you.
Butterscotch dilly bars. Who will she vote for?
No, thank you. But I also just want to do a quick shout out to Chris's wife, Stephanie.
Oh, I see. We got something going on here.
Yeah.
Yep.
Checks in the mail, Aaron. Thank you.
I think Chris is spot on. He is spot on anyway.
Oh, I see. Hey, did you see the picture of Chris on Facebook yesterday? The one where he was playing Big Bird?
No, I did not.
Oh, yeah. Check it out. It's the biggest yellow sweater I've ever seen.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, Aaron. Thank you very much. 515-244-0077. Here's a guy who's going to be so happy. He's going to be so happy. In fact, I can hear him giggle now. It is the 7-star general, the Department of Defense, Secretary of Defense in Mac's world, Army Brad, who absolutely despised Ted Cruz. You got to be happy today, brother.
I didn't despise Mr. Cruz or Senator Cruz. I just realized he was not eligible to be president. There's a massive difference, Mac.
Is he eligible to be Supreme Court Justice?
No, he's eligible. There's no naturalized citizen clause for any other job other than president. President is the only position under our Constitution that you have to be born under the authority of the United States government at birth.
All right. What do you think about the thing that Raphael was part of the conspiracy to kill JFK?
I don't know what's going on with that or about it. And it doesn't really matter now, does it?
No, it doesn't matter.
But here's my thoughts the day after, Mac. All these people that are claiming, we're not going to support Trump, by the end of the convention, they're going to all be in line saying how great Trump is, even though he's not as conservative. And in truth, I could not recall a point where Trump said, I am a die-in-the-wool conservative. He said, he's conservative on some issues, but it's not like people are saying, well, Trump's not a conservative. Okay, he never said he was, but we knew what we were getting, and he's not an establishment cog, and that's what I like most about him.
But Brad, you just said it yourself, buddy. I mean, you just said it yourself. He never said he was a conservative, and that's the problem. I mean, the Republican Party has decided that it's fine if he's not. If Donald Trump doesn't want to be a conservative, that's fine. I'm not saying it's a problem for Donald Trump. I'm saying it's a Republican as a person running for the Republican ticket on the Republican ticket who is not a conservative. That's a problem because if he's now gotten the nomination, and that means that the Republican Party is going to continue to move to the left.
Chris,
if this guy gets the nomination, which at this point, what do you mean at this point? I mean, it's a done deal, barring some sort of strange, miraculous event or something like that. Some kind of
every time there was a moderate Democrat that wasn't a hardcore leftist, the Democratic Party fell apart.
No. I'm saying the whole country, both parties have moved far more to the left as a whole. You've got right now in the Democratic Party, you've got an actual socialist running.
Oh, absolutely.
And you've got a Hillary, and I heard this today. It was Jay Sekulow, I believe, who said this, that Bernie Sanders is going to stay in all the way to the end to just continue to move Hillary further left. And Donald Trump is just going right along with him. He's just going to cross the line. Just because there's an R after his name does not mean that the guy's a conservative. Well, he already has said out loud, Brad, you quoted it yourself, he said that he's not a conservative. He wants to change...
Don't. I've never heard him say that he's a conservative. He has stated that he's conservative on some issues,
right?
And the issues that he states that he is conservative on, I support those.
Right, but that's not enough, is what I'm saying. He's definitely not my kind of conservative. Donald Trump has never spoken for me. He's never represented me well, and he's not
he's never ran for political office before.
Right, but this time when he did
before.
What's that?
He can't have represented anybody. He hasn't held a political office yet.
Right, but the stuff that he's run on is the stuff that is proof to me that he's not a conservative.
But here's the problem with what you just said. Almost everything that's reported, if you go back and look at what is actually said in context, it's not what the lapdog media is presenting to us. The one thing is like where he said he goes through a long list of all the people that supported him, and one of them was not educated people supported me, and then that's what they flash. Trump says that his supporters are not educated. Well, he lists 15 things, and he says one of them, and that's one thing they bring back and show us. And I was like, well, that's a stupid thing to say. And then if you look at it in the actual list of all the things that he says, go, okay, hold it. That's not what the man was saying. That's not what he's trying to present. And of course, they're gonna shine a light on the things that make him look as bad as possible, because he's not part of the establishment. The establishment is running scared. That's the reason why you hear the hard right establishment and the hard left establishment wetting themselves, because they are afraid of what he might be able to do.
Brad, here's the problem with the whole thing. When's the last conservative we had in the Republican Party? McCain certainly wasn't conservative.
Neither
Bush wasn't. Romney wasn't. Dole wasn't. I voted for McCain for one reason, because he nominated Sarah Palin a conservative. So
I think one thing that
Trump is just a symptom of the Republicans.
Is get a strong or fairly strong conservative woman to be the other half of his ticket, and he is going to be a nightmare for Hillary Clinton, because all these people that, and in truth, I don't see Trump even considering running for a second term. So it could be a great opportunity for America.
I think Trump is living in his worst nightmare right now. He did not want to be president of the United States, and we've pushed him in. The country has pushed him into it, and he's going to do everything he can to try to get out of it.
Oh, no.
Chris, I believe him when he says that he is, because he's losing money. He's the only one of the politicians that was running that actually loses money doing this for the next 4 years.
Right, but you got to remember, though, losing money, quote unquote, losing money for Donald Trump is something he's willing to risk, because his profile is going up, and in the long run, he's going to make money. He's an entrepreneur, a serial entrepreneur. He's a high risk taker. He's going to take and leverage what he's got to make more of what he wants. Trump is in this for Trump, and at this point, there's nothing he could say. When he said, Mac, when he said at Northwest Iowa, at Dordt College here in Iowa, that he could stand in Manhattan on 5th Street and shoot somebody dead and people would still support him, we're living in the proof of that right now.
Okay.
Because what can Donald Trump do right now to not get someone's vote?
All right.
What can he do?
When we come back, again, Congressman King will be joining us soon, and we look forward to having him tell us what he thinks about this whole thing. But I want to remind you what Aaron and I talked about on the radio a minute ago. The Republican Party is evolving. And for anybody to say they're leaving the Republican Party means they want to be the old school establishment, and that's dead. It's gone. It's not here anymore. We'll continue when we come back live.
Garlic butter makes amazing breadsticks. Now available in 12-ounce bottles at Northern Lights, Hy-Vee, and Graziano's.
Northern Lights Pizza. I'm Brian Leach, owner of Service Legends, and my position is Chief Talent Officer.
I'm Nicholas Wonderscheid.
I am Bernie Homs.
And I'm the Service Manager.
Marketing Director and Client Relations Manager.
Everything that we do is about ensuring that we exceed your expectations.
Our clients are important to us. 100% satisfaction.
We're not just focused on heating and cooling. That's the easiest part of our job, actually, is fixing furnaces and air conditioners.
Everyone that we come in touch with, we want to improve lives.
Bottom line is, we've got our installation guarantees, 25% energy savings guarantee, comfort guarantee, temperature selection guarantee, property protection guarantee.
100% satisfaction guaranteed. Fixed rate or it's free.
All of those guarantees are backed up with a 100% money-back guarantee to hold ourselves accountable to making sure that you get what you're after.
Just fixing the problem today. If they have another problem 5 days down the road, it's still fixed rate or it's free.
We use what's called straightforward pricing. Our technicians are going to give you an exact to-the-penny price on what it's going to take before they move forward with any repair. That way you know what to expect.
It's the same price every day.
No surprises.
If you get off work at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you come home, you realize that, oh, my furnace is broken. Now you need to call somebody out that night. You shouldn't have to pay more for that.
We're guaranteeing service 24/7.
We run afternoons, evenings, nights, weekends. We're staffed to work that.
Phone rings at 3 in the morning. You'll get one of our representatives answering the phone every time.
We're not sending you out to Timbuktu in some call center. It's our Service Legend team members, our mission control team.
I'll take a call anytime.
And then they answer the phones the same way during the day as they do at night.
It's a great day at your service company. How can we make you smile?
That's the only way to provide true 24-hour service.
When you're able to let somebody actually live in their home safely when they weren't able to do that before, where they don't have to stay up at night and worry about, is the heat going to come back on? Are we going to freeze the pipes? Is the baby in the room next door going to be sick because they got too cold? When you're able to help somebody overcome challenges like that, that's impacting a life. That makes a difference. I get goosebumps thinking about it.
I love the team. I love the people that I work with.
We have fun, but we work hard.
I call them my ambassadors of legendary service. If you could just envision what that is, that's who we're sending to your home.
They literally will call in, pick up the phone and call and say, hey, I want to talk to your manager. And I get on the phone, they're like, that technician that was at my house was the greatest technician ever. That's cool to me.
We want to brighten people's days.
Every person that we have going into the house has gone through an extensive background check.
Drug testing, we have a very thorough interview process that 1 out of 140 people make it through.
If we promise you something, that's what you're going to get, no matter what.
We're here when you need us to protect the safety and comfort of your family.
If you're not happy, we're going to make it right.
If we're willing to put 100% money-back guarantee on what we do, what type of work do you think we do?
Give us a call. We're there for you 24/7, 365 days a year.
Enough said.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
3:38, 22 minutes before the top of the hour. Top of the hour, Salem Radio Network News. And next hour, Pastor Todd Stiles from First Family Church in Ankeny. And this is the church that sponsored one of the missionaries that was killed in Jamaica. And the latest news broken by KCCI earlier today was that Jamaican officials, with the help of the FBI, have now arrested 3 individuals. This is kind of amazing, to be honest with you. Usually things just kind of disappear in these island countries. What was the name of that blonde girl that just disappeared a few years ago and they finally arrested a Prince or a Paul or a Poppet? Huh? Natalie Holloway. That's right. Usually that's what happens. So this is really good news. So Pastor Stiles will be here to talk about that. We're also waiting for Congressman King. Whenever he gets here, we'll have him on. Meanwhile, the zoo... Chris Roloff, Frank the Verse Thomas, and Bob Montserrat, the Cat in the Hat, watching the chat and the Service Legends Truth text line. We're talking about, well, we kind of have to today. I mean, I've been trying to back off of politics, and you've seen me do that ever since the caucus. We've really backed off of politics because it just doesn't interest me that much anymore. But today, we got to kind of talk about this. Because there are people all over the country that are doing a social networking thing. And basically, if you're one of these guys, I don't mean to insult you or offend you, but you are. You're picking up your ball and you're kicking the sand in the guy's eyes and saying, I'm taking my ball and going home. I'm not going to be a Republican anymore. And hashtag never Trump. That's your new motto. I don't get that. That doesn't help America. It doesn't help America at all. All right, 515-809-0993. That is the Service Legends Truth text line. Bob, you've got some text. Give them to us.
Yes, I do. First one, let Dace leave. He's always been a whiny, I'm going to take my ball and go home, crybaby anyway.
That was in reference. Yeah, that was in reference to earlier. We said that on social media, I think Steve Dace posted that he's now registered as an independent, leaving the Republican Party.
Oh, and that's showing up on Facebook all over the place.
Yeah, there's a lot of folks doing that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Next one. Instead of saying never Trump, people should be saying never Hillary.
That's right.
I understand Trump isn't a Republican, but it's more of the same with her.
I've said this before, and thank you, Texter. I want to speak to that a little bit. I've said this before. The thing about Hillary is I know what we're going to get, essentially. The thing that scares me the most about Donald Trump is I don't know what we're going to get.
Well, guys,
and what he's done over the last several months has created chaos and violence, and has appealed to
Donald Trump has created violence. Come on, are you serious?
Yeah.
He hasn't created violence.
I believe
thugs are creating
that the
violence.
culture. I believe that the culture, the racism in the United States has not been decreased. The conflict between the races has simply increased. He's taking a minority group. He's taking Latin Americans or Mexican Americans in the United States. He's pinning problems that we have in our country on them. He's been doing this for months. That stirs up racist tendencies amongst whites. I know it does. I've seen it.
Is it
that
true?
That kind of stuff is going to continue, and him as a president scares me because I don't want to see that kind of racism and violence increased in the United States. What are you asking me?
What am I asking you?
You said, is it true?
Is what Donald Trump said true?
Yes, he's a racist. Yes, he says racist things. That's true.
No. Okay, you sound like a lefty, Frank.
Ben Carson had some interesting analysis last night, and he made the point that the voters took this into their hands to choose our nominee. Because this was all set up for Ted Cruz in the South. It was set up for Cruz in Indiana. That was his firewall. And the voters just took it by the horns, and they made the decision because they heard all this stuff about a brokered, bloodied convention. It smacked of backroom deals when Cruz and Kasich tried to get together. And when they knew that this thing was going to end up in a mess for the Republican Party, the voters of Indiana just said, no, we're not going to have that. So Ben Carson said the voters took control of this last night because this was a state that was tailor-made for Ted Cruz. You just can't get around it. It was tailor-made for him. And the voters said no.
515-244-0077. Those are the voice lines that you can talk to me or us and the listener, like Aaron did a minute ago, like Paul did a minute ago, like Army Brad. We appreciate those calls. Also at the Service Legends Truth text line at 515-809-0993. Robert?
Republicans are feeling today similar to the way Democrats felt when Bush was declared the winner over Gore in 2000.
Good point. When the hanging Chad, the famous hanging Chads.
That was the text from the text line. Yeah, I have to say I agree with what Frank just said. and here's
Pastor, we need prayer. The world's just come apart. Frank's been right twice in this show today.
But here's what he said that I think is right. Well, I guess I shouldn't say that Frank was right. Frank quoted Ben Carson, and Ben Carson was right.
Okay.
Last night, the people of Indiana spoke. Let that sink in for a second. I mean, that's the thing that really concerns me. It's not Donald Trump. I could care less about Donald Trump. Donald Trump's going to be Donald Trump. What really concerns me is that last night the people of Indiana and the people across the United States have said, this is the kind of guy I want representing me in the highest office in the United States. That scares me, Mac. This guy is not a guy I want representing me. If I go down the street and I want to pick somebody to be my representative as I go around town, Donald Trump is not my guy.
All right, let me just calm you down a little bit. Let's give you a cold baby shower here for a second. Donald Trump, and you know from listening to the show, I am not a Trump fan, but I'm not going to take my ball and go home. I'm not going to cause havoc in the Republican Party. Hillary is so much worse. Another progressive in the White House will send religious freedom down the tube. We will lose our First Amendment rights and probably our Second Amendment rights. And I don't know if you know, but we've already lost them. I mean, I can't say something to somebody about choices they make in their life without being called a hater or a bigot. And if I call certain people a hater, it's considered, or certain people a bigot. Back up, I'm sorry. If I call certain people what they've chosen to be in their life, and they don't like that, I can be arrested, people. That's not freedom of words, freedom of expression. That's socialism, and we're there. Donald Trump is an amazing businessman. How do you know he won't step up and become an amazing president? Donald Trump has, yes, he's failed because we all fail as business people, but Donald Trump's a winner, and he's a big winner. He's like a Triple Crown winner. Okay, hold on, Frank. How do you know this man doesn't have the capability to step up? And how do you know that God won't give this man the gift of the Holy Spirit like he's given every one of us, and we didn't deserve it, and this man will become a great crusader for the Lord? You don't know that.
Let's see who he names as his potential VP candidates. If he was to name a guy like Marco Rubio, which you both supported in the caucuses, wouldn't that speak to something that he's knowing how to pick good people and put good people around him?
Well, I would be disappointed in Marco Rubio.
And I will tell you, Frank, because the other side of that coin is also true. Because if he picks a dodo bird, somebody that he can control. See, I'd love for him to pick a female, simply because all those people now that say that he's a woman hater or a war on women or whatever, I'm sorry, he just chose a woman for his partner for the next 4 years. That you don't do that if you don't like women. If you're a racist, you don't hire a black man to be your vice president. If you're a woman hater, you don't bring in a woman. Okay, sometimes the truth, and that's what you and I were talking about earlier, Chris, sometimes the truth has to be the truth. And it is what it is, and you can't change that through your narrative.
I think it was earlier today, Jay Sekulow played the clip, and I apologize, I don't know what show Trump was on, but Trump recently said a couple of things that were interesting about this. He has put, Frank, you mentioned this earlier, he's put Ben Carson on kind of his team to research his running mate.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that Donald Trump has admitted, or has announced anyway, that he's going to select someone currently in office, right? Someone currently...
Yeah, but the other thing he mentioned was he was going to put forth a list of about 12 people that he would exclusively select from for Supreme Court nominees. So if you get those type of Supreme Court nominees that would end abortion, well, that's what you want.
But the reality is he's not, I don't know what he's going to do in terms of Supreme Courts, but Donald Trump is not for ending abortion. He's actually for changing the Republican Party and making us more in favor of abortion.
He can let the Supreme Court do that for him.
All right, Pastor Todd Stiles will be coming up in the next hour. He's the pastor to one of the missionaries that were tragically murdered in Jamaica. That story and more, along with Congressman King, next on The Truth.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can return the grandkids, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We'll help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Rockton Prevention is celebrating 25 years of creating a caring community. We want to say thank you to the tens of thousands of Rock High School mentors that have carried our message of health, love, and encouragement to over 1.5 million children, teachers, and parents. Our mentors teach children methods and skills to prevent bullying and drug use. Thank you to all the school administrators, teachers, and counselors for their opportunity to serve you. Rock on, fair citizens, rock on! This is Pat McManus for Rockton Prevention, the Richard O. Jacobson Foundation, and this station.
Northern Lights Pizza, your home of the tasty crust. Our garlic butter sauce now available in 12-ounce bottles at Northern Lights, Hy-Vee, and Graziano's.
Northern Lights Pizza.
Hi, my name is David Burrier, your Hope Coach. I host a live weekly talk show called I've Been There every Thursday afternoon at 5:30, right here on webcast1live.com, and on my weekly radio program Saturday mornings at 10 on Truth Network 99.3 FM. I interview common everyday people who have survived incredible life challenges and who testify to God's faithfulness in the midst of their storms. So join me as we bring a message of hope and encouragement. Everybody needs hope. I know, because I've been there.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live. From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Getting beat. The day after the Super Bowl, you can't lose. That's a bummer day.
Yeah, today's a bummer day for all these players.
when your guy doesn't win the Daytona 500. Monday. 10
minutes before the hour of 4 o'clock, 3:50 in the afternoon, 4th day of May in the Lord's year 2016. Pastor Todd Stiles is going to be with us later on, and we're going to talk about this. And Todd and I have not talked about this before, so I think I know this man's heart. Would you tell these children over here that God's in control?
God is in control. He's sovereign, and he knows already who our next president is. I'm good with that.
Yeah, I mean,
God's got this.
We can have some fun here on the radio and share our passions, and we've got some passionate people. But guys, we're it. We know it doesn't matter in the long run. Those guys out there that were Ted Cruz supporters who don't know the Lord, their life, you said it, it's a bad day today. It's a bad day today. It was delivery day and the baby was stillborn. I hate to be really ugly on this, but that's how the Cruz people feel. A pastor like Todd will tell you, it doesn't matter in the big picture.
Well, since I happen to have...
Oh, you got a text, Bob?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, let me see.
We got two Service Legends Truth text line at 809-0993.
All right, I got to...
Oh, we had to get them up. So, yeah, you can text us and tell us what you think. 515-809-0993.
All right, it says, hey, guys, all those people that are saying that they're going to leave the Republican Party, let them go. What they are going to do, what are they going to... Let me see. What? Whoa, we're getting more texts in here, and it just stopped my reading all of a sudden because it scrolled away.
We're getting bombarded by texts.
Yeah, and that's... Well, here's one. I'll get back to that. As a citizen of heaven, my opinion is if voting for a candidate violates your conscience, don't do it. Our High King has sorted out worldly governments for thousands of years.
That's right.
So we have nothing to fear.
That's right. I mean, we can have fun with this, but let's not. I'm sorry if you're one of those Cruz people and today's the worst day of your life. Really? That's it? That's it? The guy doesn't make the pass? He drops the ball, your team loses in the minutes of the Super Bowl, the Hawkeyes lose in the Rose Bowl, life goes on. Jesus is in charge. Frank?
As somebody who has a futurist view as opposed to a preterist view of the book of Revelation, I think the mark of the beast is something that's to come. And I think that Donald Trump is either going to hasten that or he's going to forestall that.
Oh, it's already here. The mark of the beast came in. You know when the mark of the beast came in? The mark of the beast came in with Social Security numbers.
Not under Nero.
No. You know what? The original in Hebrew, W is the number 6. So it's the internet. You know, the World Wide Web. It's www.666. This is the internet. You know what I mean? It's actually what, you know, the way. So, no, we don't want to get into what is the mark of the beast.
No, I'm not. I'm just simply saying that Trump will either hasten that or he will forestall that. I'm with Todd that God is sovereign and God puts in leaders and he takes down leaders.
Well, and I agree with you, Frank, that God is in control. And I think I'm glad that the conversation changes a little bit to this direction, because the reality is I hope that this is a wake-up call to all those Bible-believing Christians, all those who've been born again, who are trusting in Jesus Christ alone for their salvation, for all of us to actually kind of wake up and go, wait a minute. Maybe we've been participating in this all wrong for a long time. You know, you think about this. Since the 80s, guys like James Dobson have been telling us we need to vote for so-and-so. We need to vote for so-and-so. We need to vote for so-and-so. Well, this time around, James Dobson said before the Iowa caucus, mind you, that we should vote for Ted Cruz. Guys like Steve Deace, Dr. Michael Brown, lots of people early on got around Ted Cruz and said we've got to get behind Ted Cruz. And Ted Cruz did not win. And I think the thing is, maybe we've been playing this game all along. I said to a friend of mine earlier today, Frank, you know what? Sometimes winning in the world, it looks like we have the most people. We've got this big crowd. We've got 50,000 people in the stands, and they're all applauding us. And sometimes that's what winning looks like. But would we agree that sometimes winning also looks like a guy dead on a cross? Alone.
Yeah, that's right.
Sometimes the greatest win is a sacrifice that actually looks small and insignificant, where the devil laughs and the whole world around gives up hope, and the people who followed this man have lost everything. And right then and there on the cross, Jesus Christ changed history for all time, and he did it alone, and he did it through death, and he did it through suffering. And so sometimes winning doesn't look like having everybody cheering you on. Sometimes winning looks like death.
Being that I do have a pretty good memory, and I agree with much of what you said, I remember you saying to me at some point, you felt a little bullied when James Dobson come out because you were at the time supporting Rubio, and so was Mac. And I just felt the whole thing of Christians putting their thumb on the scale and trying to bang the pulpit out for a particular guy. And I was against any of that. I was a Ben Carson supporter, Scott Walker supporter, etc. I didn't want anybody putting their thumb on the scale, establishment, conservative, or libertarian. I wanted the process to play out, but it didn't happen that way. And I felt bullied, and you said you felt bullied.
Yeah,
right,
absolutely.
Let's go back to the phones where Paul is standing by. Paul just called 244-0077. Paul, go ahead and chime in.
It wasn't that Jesus died on the cross that he lost or won. It's when he resurrected from the grave. That's what he won. That's the winning part. The dying on the cross, everybody's going to die.
That's true.
The resurrecting part of that's what Paul said's the most important.
Yep.
It's the resurrection, the living again. That's the new thing. All these people that are going to be winning offices is to kill something. None of them have ever made anything live, if you checked out history. It's God himself when he comes back and returns. That's when the new life is going to be here. That's when all things are going to be set in order. None of these guys can get it fixed. None of them. I don't care who they are.
I like Paul. I love you, man. Thanks for calling in.
Take care now.
All right, buddy. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I mean, he's exactly right. I'm sorry, Roloff. You're wrong. It's not the hanging on the cross.
All I said
the thief
was
hung on the cross. Other people hung on the cross. It was the resurrection.
He was getting around to that
50 days
point.
later when he brought the Holy Spirit to us.
My point was that sometimes winning looks like dying.
Oh,
you wouldn't have had the resurrection without the death. My point is, what we want the resurrection to look like is a big parade and lots of people shouting, "Yay, victory, victory, victory!" But you don't get to have a resurrection without death.
All right, Pastor Todd Stiles is going to be with us part of next hour. Congressman King, I just talked to him on the phone while Chris was on his wrongful rant, and he is approaching the studio right now. Pastor Todd Stiles is in. We're going to speak about Todd. What was the name of the missionary that was a part of your church?
Randy Hensel.
Hensel. All right, and he was a part of your church. I believe his wife and children live here in Des Moines or in Ankeny.
They live in Ankeny, still a part of First Family.
Yeah, what a sad thing. All right, we'll talk to Todd about that, and we'll talk to Congressman King when we come back from the top of the hour break here live. Take a breath. God is in charge. It's not a big deal. No matter who sits on Pennsylvania Avenue, God still has the big thumb. He can put down or raise up anybody he wants. Either you believe in a sovereign God or you don't. You either believe in his power and ability that everything is his plan, or you believe your free will out trumps his, to use a pun. We'll talk about that when we come back. And I thank you for listening right here to 99.3 The Truth.
King is here.